Hey, this was originally meant to be a video during a reflection thing. I did the video to the full length. However, I didn't like it, so we're just gonna do another video, which is gonna be me talking about some AI stuff and my opinions on it. So I got access to Sora today. Not today, a couple days ago. I think yesterday. And to be honest, it's cool. Like I think personally, I just prefer than all the other video generators so far, just because I have access to. Like that's my only reason. That's what I've been saying. I think will be the case for many people. Because I think if you're not well versed in the AI space, right? OpenAI, ChatGPT are the stuff you know the most because those are the most prominent names. Those are the biggest AI figures. So then I feel like that's why Sora maybe like once it's improved, like you could have a model that's better than Sora, but I don't think it's going to be used. I don't think it's going to be used more that like by mainstream. It's going to be more mainstream than Sora. I think that's like even with other technology, you can see that's the case. Like for example, Apple and iPhones are not the best phone, but then and they're probably not the most used phone. But like, let's say in America, they I think are the most popular phones because they're the most mainstream, right? I think um that's how it's going to be with Sora. I do say that one caveat to that argument is that OpenAI's biggest thing isn't like video generation, and a lot of people don't have a lot of use for video generation in their life, right? Like the average person like working on homework has an or working on homework or maybe working with some files or needs to do some quick like needs to gain some quick knowledge. They have a use case for ChatGPT, but for Sora that's different because like the only two use unless you're if you're not in the artistic space, then you're really just using Sora for fun, right? You could say maybe for a promotional thing, but that's artistic space, and all the other stuff. I really see like if it's not the artistic space, then you don't really need to use Sora. So then maybe that maybe that will be the reason why Sora does not become the leading video generator because like the only people who are going to be making videos at that level are people who are well versed in the space and they're going to look for a more niche they're going to look for a product that's the best, right? And it's not because OpenAI I think is the more general AI model. um but yeah, that's just a quick overview. I can show some quick glimpses of the stuff I made. There's a dinosaur in front of the Washington Monument. This is just some black samurai fighting. This one actually looked pretty cool. This was Black Samurai fighting in a shonen art style. Yeah, let me click on the. Yeah, this was like a shonen thing. So maybe that's why they took a manga approach. It could also just be they don't have that many Black Samurai in the training data set, so maybe that influenced like the quality of it. Hopefully that's not the case, but it is what it is. Then the last one, this is my first one, funny enough, was this, which I actually think looks really cool. I think one thing I really like about Sora that I haven't really seen in other AI video. Oh, I haven't really seen in other AI video generation models. It has a more director's touch to it. And keep take this with like a large grain of salt. 'Cause I don't use AI video generation tools that much just because I'm not that interested and like it's more expensive. Um, but with Sora, what it does is like it cuts scenes. Like it has like different cut scenes. So like with a movie, it's like think of a movie. When you're filming a movie or watching a movie, not all it's not like they cut in between scenes. So maybe one scene could be someone talking like this. Then the next scene could swap to two people talking. Like you can do two characters. So like stuff like that, I think is it gives Sora a more director's touch, which I think is really interesting. I do think it also makes it easier for them to generate the videos because like doing one long scene, you have an issue of the entities in the video just not being as coherent, like not staying consistent through the whole thing. So me having different cuts helps a bit. Um, but yeah, ultimately I'm still not that like impressed. Like I'm impressed at the level of AI is able to make videos, but like in terms of the quality of Sora, I don't think it's that crazy. I do think one thing that's been on my mind for a while now is like it's it makes the videos in like I think under a minute, right? Or no, probably like a minute, 3 minutes. But personally, I don't see if that's a reason for the quality being so low. Or if that's a fact, I feel like they could sacrifice more time in the videos because when it comes to animation and making videos, the people who are really doing that that's a craft that takes a lot of time, right? So let's say the average animation, like 2D animation, a full sequence of a ball going up and down through this whole screen. Like if a ball was to touch every side in this thing right now, and it was like you wanted it to be very well drawn, you wanted it to be colored, that might take like an hour, really. So like I don't think you have to cut down an hour to 3 minutes. Like, and I'll go more a bit more into detail what by what I mean, like what the alternative is. I feel like if they could give more autonomy over the act of creating like the separate entities, and the entity is just like an object in the video, so like maybe my head or my eyes could be an entity. I think that would be more interesting. So I feel like where I want to see AI video generation go is not so much where you're generating the scenes for people, but more so if I want if I have a tree and I wanted to blow, if I wanted to blow to the left, that could just say like make this tree blow to the left, and that would be like a small animation where the leaves just blow to the left. I think that'd be more useful than generating a whole video where I know I don't like the tree on the left. I know I don't like the how the sun is looking at. There's like a bunch of stuff I want to fix with my hands, but then I just wasted like 3 to 5 minutes when I could have had like more autonomy the whole time and just been making the changes I want. I think that might be something I didn't explain that well, but I think overall, I think I might find in the future I might find a better way to explain it. Um, but yeah, especially with how much energy this consumes, I wondered if that alternative would help. I think a software that I do think two companies I think might eventually end up doing something like that is Canva and Adobe, because I think that's a direction they might be interested in. And that's really like what I've been saying with AI. I don't think AI is ever going to be a full person, right? It's going to be more of an assistant. I think, especially in the way the system of video editing or animation, the way those systems work, I don't think the way AI video generation is right now helps a lot with that. Like it feels more stressful to do it this way versus having full autonomy over what you're creating. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any last couple of notes I have. I do think it's cool. Just the overall thing. I've been seeing a lot of, actually, no, that's a lie. I have not been seeing a lot of waves of Sora and the art community, which I've been saying for a couple of days now. But I do think, I don't know. I feel like that makes it even worse in my opinion. 'Cause I feel like one thing, and maybe if this is intentional, like the different AI companies' parts, once your product, and this is gonna sound really bad, but once the product is more feared, right, then that makes it seem more impressive, right? So like if ChatGPT was to come out with a new model, ChatGPT 5.0, right, and no one was scared of what it could do, then that would not seem like it, because that means it's not impressive. Because if it's not impressive, that means it doesn't have the capabilities to it doesn't have the capabilities to replace people, stuff like that at that level, and then that means that just overall means the model has doesn't it doesn't seem that impressive, which is a weird way to look at it, but I do think it's certainly a perspective. Ultimately, though, in the future, the way I see it working, oh, quick interjection. I think a show that I want to really talk about, but I'm not going to do for this video, is Pantheon. It actually goes into, it doesn't go into artificial intelligence, but it's more about upload intelligence. But I do think the way the show works, it has a really nice approach perspective to how like the whole technology development space works, and how it works like the how it works, how it affects society, and how society affects the development of technology, and how corporations and stuff like that, like those private interests affects it. And I think it's a really cool show. I did not give it justice in my explanation, but I do think people should check it out. But back to what I was saying, which I don't remember, but I'm just going to continue from where I think is the most interesting thing I was saying. Um, Overall with video generation, I just remember what I was saying. With video generation, I do think in the future, not video, with AI, I do think in the future we should get to a point where it's not the case where we're worried about how much it could be replacing people. I do think in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of jobs lost to AI, but I think it's going to fall into more of a place of a co-pilot, a Robin, a psychic, stuff like that. And there's certainly jobs that it's just going to take over completely. Like if the job is very autonomous, it's very heavy on data, and it doesn't really require a lot of, how do you say this in the best way? It doesn't require a lot of complicated thinking. Like if it's just a bunch of like numbers and just like analyzing that number and was it processing it right or give yeah processing it. I think that's a job that's easily replaceable, right? Should it be replaceable? I don't. That's another question, but I think it's easily replaceable. Like if the job doesn't require a lot of creativity, then I do think it's more likely to be replaced. But in terms of artists, I think what you're going to notice is that there is going to be a push to replace them. I think I've already seen a couple ads like from Coca Cola and them, but you're going to notice like the best ads you're going to see from now to let's say 2028 I still think are gonna be human made ads, because it's never been a matter of like when it comes to like creativity and like art itself. It's never been a matter of um. It's never been a matter of speed. It's the best thing to make it. It's never been a matter of um who has the most tools. It's just been a matter of who has like the most creative vision, who can put together this creative vision the most appealing way. Um, and I think that's why I don't see the art space being completely taken over by artificial intelligence. I do think it's going to make waves. I do think there's going to be a push from people who are trying to cut costs to use it more, but I don't see it completely being taken over just because art is one of those stuff that's more, it will take longer to create a fully desired product using AI than just using a regular person. So I think that'll be interesting. And that goes back to what I was saying. I think because AI does not give you that, does not give you right now, it doesn't give you a lot of control over the product you're making. I still think if you're a micromanager boss and you want to use AI to make a video, there's going to be like, there's so many stuff you don't get to say in. And to even get that say in, there's like so much trouble to do that. When if you just say, like, can you just change this tree or could you do this? To an animator, but to an AI, it's gonna be like, oh, they have to edit. Once you say do this, they change the whole video. But another thing I've been neglecting to say in this video is like when it comes to ads and stuff for that market, like stuff from large corporations, they really don't care about the creative vision. To be honest, I think they care more so about how well it implants their product into their buyers like minds. Like they want people to be thinking about Coca-Cola. They want people to be thinking um about their company, their product. Because if they're thinking about it, that means they're more likely to buy the product. So then they're not necessarily caring about how creative it looks, how nice it looks. As long as you get the job done, then I think that's their goal, right? It's not like they're not really thinking about it from like an art student's perspective. They're more so thinking about like how can we get the most money out of this. So even with the I know Coca-Cola and I think Fiverr did a couple ads with using AI. I think that was less more. I don't think that was about saving money or anything like that. I think that was more so about creating a controversy, like, oh, AI ads. And then since like that's the thing that's buzzing right now, then people start talking about Coca-Cola more. And by virtue of talking about Coca-Cola more, you're doing free advertisement for the company. And that's something I'm really interested to see. Is like, is it at this stage of AI video generation, is it cheaper to make an animated ad using like just animators, or is it cheaper to use AI? And my bet is to make like a good ad. And I think good is very subjective, but I feel like you kind of have like an average view of good. To make like a good standard ad, I think it may be cheaper to use animators at this stage, but I could be completely wrong. That's something I definitely have to do more research on. And even with the video generation, I'm really just talking from just thoughts and vibes because I need to get more practice with this. Like even with Sora, having used the storyboard feature, which is something that may change my perspective on how much control AI video generation gives you. I doubt, just from what I've seen so far, but it might really. And another thing I take into perspective is like while the cost may be more expensive make an AI video right now, like given stuff like Moore's law, I think that's the chips will become smaller and just advance in power. I'm just gonna switch up. They basically come technology just becomes better every 2 years. And sorry about this video. This video is just gonna be like me saying my thoughts. Whew. The number of transistors in an integrated circuit doubles roughly every 2 years with a minimal increase in cost. So technology just becomes better every 2 years. Um, that's pretty much it in my opinion. So then, with that being the case, that means we're going to see AI become maybe cheaper. I know different companies. I know OpenAI. I think Google. They're building nuclear power plants to help power this. Which would be something that's really interesting because what I like about that, I think nuclear power plants are really good. So for source of renewable energy. So I do think that'll make hopefully right? Regardless of the whole AI thing, I think hopefully that encourages more sectors to try and look into nuclear energy. Um, but yeah, I think that's like, I think this video is becoming a bit too long. I'm trying to think of anything else I just wanted to say because after I talk about AF right now, I want to go into like more stuff I'm doing rather than like talk about AF. But yeah, I think that's where my thoughts on AI video generation are. I think it's a really cool field, regardless of what regardless of where you're coming from. I think it's interesting to see how society reacts to how people are developing it, like how okay, this my last thing. Another perspective about AI, when it comes to like who's gonna dominate the AI space, there's been thoughts about like how OpenAI, while might be like the leading figure, it might be like the Yahoo of search, right? It's like right now when we think of search, you're most likely to think about Google. But a couple years back, Yahoo and other services were the top and dominant search engines. Um, so that might be the case with OpenAI, but its perspective is that AI is going to be more of an open source thing, where it's less likely, it's going to be more so individual. I don't, I'm still wrapping my head around that, but the if more people are able to basically have more, I think about something like Llama, which is more open source. Maybe that might be how AI is in the future, rather than like a subscription model you get with a company to use their own AI. You have a more open source model that you can fine tune to your company, to yourself, stuff like that. Like if a school wants an AI for all students, and maybe work with like the government body of that state school, and they may create like a separate AI model that they can branch off into separate agents for students. Yeah, which is really interesting and stuff. But I think that's all I have to say for now. So besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.